what do you think of the film? Did you enjoy it?
So yeah, again, I felt more hangry than anything. Because again, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. So as you said, I don't think I understand all the hate for it. I feel like we're defending too many films lately, but not White Knighting or anything, but kind of like Argyle.
It's just frustrating because people get all worked up. Either they hate it or they love it. There's nothing wrong with saying a movie's just okay.
What as I was telling you, what is the hardest movie to like review? And it's like not one you love, not one you hate, because there's the passion in something. You can talk about something you love for hours. You can rant about something you hate for hours. It's the one that's just kind of like, I don't know. Like, you're in between. I'm not, it's kind of meh, in the middle, but it's kind of like, I didn't love it, I didn't hate it. I don't know how to describe it type of stuff there. So that's what makes it difficult to like give it a rating type of thing there. Where I'm like, I guess you could easily say like, well, 5 would be in the middle. It's like true. But then it's like, but I don't know. It's just, there were a lot of cringe moments. I thought the villain was one of the worst villains I've ever seen. I thought his acting was terrible. He was not threatening. He was just like, he phoned it in the whole movie. Like he was reading from a script the whole time. Because it was always, I have to stop them. I keep seeing these girls in this vision, the same 3 faces. I don't want to die. I know it's not a dream about that. I am going to die. I could stop you. Your mother was this. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, get angry sometime. Get sad sometime. Get emotional sometime. And then, like I was saying, with the 3 had sex with the one lady, they have to bash over our heads because we're too stupid to understand what he's getting at type stuff there. And he has to monologue that for like 5 minutes. And she's like, but everybody dies. It's like, stop that. No, don't give me that stuff. That's like, no, that didn't need to be said. It just seemed like something like you would write when you were like a teenager type of, when you're writing your like a script or story. It's like, no, that is, because who says that?
Well, I just didn't like that scene at all because it felt like it kind of stopped. Well, we have to.
Oh my gosh, that scene went on forever too.
Sometimes it's better either not to explain the bad guy's purpose or spread it out. You don't need. I mean, as soon as you start monologuing, it kind of slows down.
And then they did that throughout. Like there was plenty of that kind of stuff there with him, and just like, And like I said, the pigeon, open the window, open the damn window. I was like, she better open that window, and then she did. So I was like, okay, good. But then she sits there and goes, like she's thinking in her head, like what just happened? She changed the future, and then she still says it aloud. It's like, do one or the other.
Right.
It was stuff like that got me going. And the hangry, because I don't care what anyone says. 2003, I don't think I've ever heard anybody say hangry in 2003. I don't think I've heard anybody say that until like the mid-2010s for me. Is when I started hearing it. So that was just kind of like, really? People were sitting there talking about like this and this. Like I was telling you, I don't think the film was necessary. Like, it was kind of like, it didn't really have a purpose. Like, it didn't need to be made.
It wasn't really setting up anything.
Like, it just kind of like, it was just kind of a there movie. Like I was discussing with you with Aquaman 2, where it was kind of like, compared to the first one, Aquaman 2 was just kind of like, it was just there.
Right.
It wasn't like, was it necessary? No, because it was just your hero's journey type of typical, they go on adventure and stuff happens from point A to point B in between and stuff like that. But like you said, it was more of just him reconciling with his brother and that bonding. And that was kind of an important thing there where I'm like, yes, I agree, because I love both those guys.
Yes.
I liked both of them in the first movie. So I liked that. See, this is the passionate part. And I'm talking about a different movie right now. How many times have I talked about this where it's like, that's the stuff I like, where you have that when you watch like Inuyasha and Sesshomaru or something like that. It's that when you see the brotherly things there, and then it's like they're going like you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Where you have that kind of stuff, like all these movies and shows where they have that. It's like, I like that because it builds Thor and Loki. That's what I want to see in the Thor movies, not this stupid crap they were doing the last couple of films. Especially in the second one where they're kind of set up stuff with Thor and Loki. Then they decided to say, let's just be silly and goofy and F that stuff. I'm like, no, I want to watch those two go at it and bond, and yet kind of, it's that kind of stuff that makes a good, powerful story.
Well, yes.
And then the fighting with, trying to get the father's love, the Iron Claw.
I was going to bring that up.
Inspired by true events, though. But it just so worked, where it's like just the brothers with each other, and then still fighting in a sense, trying to get the father's good, the go. All that stuff there. Great stuff.
What works about those movies is that it's got a family bond.
Yeah.
Now, in this movie, it's just random people kind of thrown together. And
even though I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit, I did like how she's like, well, we're a family now. It's like, because it makes sense because the girls didn't. But it told the thing. The girls didn't have any family, basically. So it kind of worked. Right. It was a little roll your eyes because there was a lot of cheesy dialogue and scenes, but it worked. So I didn't. Again, I liked your character. You said you liked the main character, Man Webb. You thought she was done well,
yes,
I
thought she seemed pretty realistic and down-to-earth kind of girl. I didn't think she sounded too woke or overpowered.
See, that's what I thought.
Or too girly.
Yeah.
She just seemed like
and again, I didn't have problems with the girls either. People were sitting there saying they were like too teenagery, too bratty, too full of themselves. And it's like, she even says in that movie, you girls need to stop thinking about other people other than yourselves and stuff like that. And they're like, you're right. So it's like, well, then there you go. It's the whole point. I thought we liked stuff where characters are one thing and then they change at the end of the film. So again, I'm not sticking up for this movie. It's not grade A, but it's just kind of like, I didn't see those points that people were being negative with. Like, I don't know, I thought they had a little bit of a character arc through there. They learned something. They learned CPR type of thing. They learned, Yeah,
and I like the growth of the main character. How she was struggling with, her whole mom. Why would my mom risk my life to go out there?
Yeah, and then that
in the middle
stuff.
of nowhere.
And then you find that. Like, the weakest stuff was the bad guy.
Yeah.
He was lame. His acting was terrible. He wasn't really threatening.
He was just there to move the plot.
It was just stupid for that, That was dumb. But she was good. I liked the little flash forwarding stuff there where she can see in the future and stop things. I thought it worked well enough. Some of it was a little ridiculous. I liked when she did the cab, the diner.
Yes.
But the ambulance... Argyle made sense when they would do like all this crazy over the top stuff.
Yes.
But when she had the ambulance bust through
a
building basically from midair to land right on the streets, and I'm like, that was a little wacky over the top for this type of movie, but whatever.
Right.
That I'm like, yeah, no. But and then yeah, not like at all. Emma Roberts, I still thought was kind of funny playing May, Mary. That would have been weird.
Yeah.
But Mary Parker, Peter's mom, like, I still thought that was kind of weird. Like, I can't see her after all the movies I've seen her in being motherly and pregnant and just, like, it was just weird. Now, Adam Scott as Ben, I liked him, and we were talking about how I liked their genuine, like, their relationship with him and Webb.
Yes.
It seemed real enough. I thought it had, like, like you said, the chemistry. It was there. It felt realistic, believable. Yeah. I thought it was cute, and I liked how they were with each other.
And it was platonic, too. It's not like they always have to have relationships between characters. There was just a platonic friend.
It was. So I had no problem with that either. So again, I had no problem with the girls. The girls were nice. I thought all three of the girls were pretty okay. And then they all kind of connected in a way. They all did different personalities. They were all this and that. But it made sense. Like, why are these three girls here? Something must be connecting them. It's like, well, there you go. That made sense. Right. Which for me, how stupid the villain was too. Where it's like, it wasn't the three girls you should have worried about. It should have been me. It's like, now if you realize she's protecting them and doing this, and she has this stuff of like, how do they keep doing this? How do they keep getting away? How do they keep predicting? How do they keep... It's like, why didn't you just kill her? It's just one thing, kill her and then you can kill the girls. I don't understand. Is that... The guy was an idiot. He wasn't threatening anything. The spider people in the Amazons...
That was lame.
That was cringy. Suits. They looked stupid. It was just, we're spider people. And then 30 years later, she goes and sees him again, and the guy, that to me was like, what? I knew you would return. And then it's like, he's got his hair all combed and he's in a suit. I was like, what happened to your spider people tribe that was cringy and stupid? This is weird. And then he did the whole great, the Uncle Ben thing from the 2002 Spider-Man. But he said it in a way where I'm like, I can't even think of how he phrased it, but it was like cringy and just awkward. I'm like, oh, you phrase it in a way that, with great power comes great responsibility, Peter. But his was like, responsibility
will come.
With power and greatness or some kind of appears or something. I was like, what? Why? There was some action scenes. They were pretty okay. The ending thing, the Pepsi product placement thing was cringy. Like I was saying, that would have been weird with being defeated by Pepsi. Like Iron Man when he's like, what do you want? I'm hungry. And he's like, here you go, I got Burger King for you. And then somehow he defeats Jebediah. Or whatever at the end of the movie with Burger King product placement or something. I mean, like I was saying, at least Mr. Stay Puft was an in-world thing, so that makes more sense than just, the big S for Spider and Pepsi, and then...
I didn't mind it when they first placed Pepsi in it, when he gave her the soda, and she's like, why? I want a beer type attitude.
Yeah.
Then when it came to the end with the Pepsi, it's like, oh, wow, you really want us to drink
Pepsi.
And then
the final battle scene, all these final battle scenes, and theirs was on a Pepsi side. That was kind of like interesting.
And then the whole thing with the factory or warehouse coming back into the later in the movie, which is
At the beginning, it was on fire and burnt blew up type of thing there, and then they go back to it, and it seemed
It's
like it was perfectly
restocked
fine.
with
I was
all
like,
the products,
interesting.
but not secured or
But again,
protected.
I liked all those aspects of it. I thought she was fine. She did an okay job. I did the bait and switch for me that made me hangry was you didn't see the girls in the spider outfits. You didn't see those attractive girls in the skin tight outfits. They were just at the beginning, which for me, like right away, I was like, what the frick is this? He's like envisioning the whole end, like, you're giving the ending away. And then it's like,
that's what I was thinking too.
oh, then I'm sitting there thinking as time goes on where I'm like, oh, we're not good. That's the only time we see those attractive girls in those skin tight outfits showing off the boobies and the butts and their shapely forms. See, that's the problem again. It's like in the superhero movies, we can always see the shirtless men. That's perfectly fine. But then you have the sexy women in something, can't have that, but we'll have it for like maybe a minute in the film or a minute at the end of the film too. And it's like, really? So that was kind of like, but again, they could show off more at their little gala event where they're basically wearing nothing. That's fine. And I agree. That's the one thing I agree with a lot of people that were bitching about it. It's like, if these girls would have dressed like this at their gala events outside in public, in the movie, you'd get more butts in the seats.
Yes. I found the movie relatively enjoyable, but I also went into the movie not expecting it to be the best thing in the world. And I understand that there's people find it really annoying or stupid because it's associated with Spider-Man, which I get because some of the things they do seem like they take away the specialness of Spider-Man.
If anyone made it this far into the video, because you know how people are, like, we're saying too many positive things on something that people collectively hate and want you to hate type of stuff. I don't see the point of hating. I just see it as like, if anything, So it's just, I don't see the point of the hatred towards, it's not like this is the Marvels or the Little Mermaid, the fake Little Mermaid live action garbage or Mutant Mayhem stuff like that. This is, or Indy 5 or Quantumanian stuff. But I just think that's why I can't stand the Spider-Verse movies, because I just think, I'm sorry, Spider-Man's Peter Parker and only Peter Parker type of stuff. Batman's Bruce Wayne, etc., etc. I'm tired of this whole anyone can be this, anyone can be this one. And that's why I think it's funny. And then it's stuff like this where they're trying to take away the specialness of Peter Parker, because it's like, when do you do this? There were Spider-Women before him. There was that bad guy who was basically a Spider-Man, which I was like, wait, why does he have a Spider-Man suit? Even the eyes and everything, and the whole, where do you even get the suit? So the whole thing with Peter Parker and his storylines where he's sitting there trying to sew together a Spider-Man suit, and it's always these crappy little things he makes first, and he somehow makes these nice suits in all the movies. I thought that was just going to be a thing for him, and apparently it's a thing for this guy before he's even born, so it's just kind of weird.
And the girls, too.
And apparently the girls will get it before he does, or something like that, too, so it's like, to me, it made me think of the dumbest thing in the Batman and Robin movie. I've been waiting for you. Here you go, Batgirl. And then he's like, you had a suit ready for her to be Batgirl. Perfect for her to fit into, too. So it's kind of like, how did you know she was gonna... What? it was just weird. So it's something like this that was weird, and I hate that they're taking away from Peter Parker what makes him special, that spider powers, him being special and unique. And then I think you even said, like, wait, so what's the point of the radioactive spider, supposedly, and so like that? So now it's just, there's these special spiders in that Amazonian jungle that makes you spider people? What?
Yeah,
that was like a little off and weird. Plus you were expecting, well, maybe at least by the end, like the guy had the spider in the city, that, maybe the girls would be bitten by it so they can get their powers, and you kind of at least see that at the end. But they didn't even do that.
No, they do not.
Because what was weird was, it was just like, oh, if you want to see them in their suits, it's like, throughout the whole movie, it's like just maybe a minute for both, like 30 seconds and 30 seconds again type of thing there. We have to watch all the shirtless men in the movies for, every movie, but can't get those girls in those tight spandex, though, for too long, because that's wrong. So it's just kind of like, that was a tease. So then it makes you wonder, it's like, I demand we get a Man on Web 2. I demand we get a movie like that, too, and have those girls in the whole movie fighting in those tight outfits, jiggling everything in your face, slinging and webbing. If the guys can have shirtless scenes, why can't they?
Yeah.
Equal rights, right? Equality, right?
Well, yeah, it makes you wonder.
It's just funny.
Are these girls going to become Spider-Women before Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man? Or do they really have to wait like 20 years?
Now that they did kill him before his vision, maybe it's not going to happen now. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't get it.
You're watching a movie like, again, I thought, attractive girls the whole time. So that's something you don't see anymore.
That's one reason
So it
why I
was
wanna see
nice.
this
It's
movie.
like, wow, there was attractive women in a movie, you know? And they were, I thought, again, likable. There was no bitching about men in the movie. There was no men are pigs, men are evil, men are like anti-this, anti-this, that type of stuff that you constantly see. Like when they were in the bar and those guys were smiling at the girls. If this were Captain Marvel, she'd go over and punch them for smiling at her.
Yeah.
Or telling her to be like, hey there, you're cute. Punch, pig. But these ones like, oh, really? Haha. All these things always like to show the wrong message where it's like anyone compliments you or something like that, it makes you want to go. When in reality, everybody, man, woman, they love compliments. So it makes no sense,
Well,
and that type of teaching is stupid, especially since they're young girls.
Yeah.
I thought they did a pretty good, okay job with them as young girls. People were complaining that, oh, they act too teenagery, too girly or whatever there. But then it's like, but then you would complain if they weren't. You know, like nowadays movies where these girls were acting all, like, not like that. It's like, then they start acting more like teenagers. And then they act like teenagers. Like, no, they gotta be more, I can do anything, and I'm girl bossing. Which I thought was nice that they didn't have any of that stuff. They're not this, we can do anything, we're better than men. You know, the movie was basically them running away most of the time. Which would make sense, realistically. Like, you don't know what to do. So, if this were in the hands of someone else, they would have, like, automatically have been able to turn the tide over and beat the crap out of the guy. Just like at the ending, like, constantly beat the crap out of him. Instead, like, they didn't. It was amazing that they weren't just like, we're suddenly overpowered by you. In his vision, they were, but that's because they had superpowers and stuff, too. But in this, it's like, no, they're not. So they didn't just magically, you know, get the, what do you call it, the Mary Sue stuff going that everyone talks about. Like, Rey, how she's like, I suddenly know how to fly the Millennium Falcon, even though I never flew in it before. I've never done this. I've never done this. They know how to do all this stuff all of a sudden, which would be weird.
Right.
There were parts in there at the end when they were battling where they tried, like, each girl tried to do something, but then they get, you know, the Thanos punch to Captain Marvel type thing, where it's like, nope, I felt it was realistic. Where it's like, good, they weren't just suddenly, I can do anything. So I don't see when people complaining about the woke. I'm like, where was it? They weren't attacking men. They weren't trying to make women better than anything. They weren't trying to bring in any political stuff. There are no ideologies, no this. They weren't pushing anything. At least I didn't see any. And they didn't do any of the girl bosses stuff that everyone complains about, the woke standard and stuff.
Well, yeah, they weren't like over aggressive or anything. I had no problem with the girls dancing on the table. It didn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they let that, and surprised they let them show their belly, their stomachs and stuff. Oh my gosh. It was still a little weird, but it was like, whatever.
Oh, yeah. It's just the girls wanted attention. It's like,
Yeah.
oh.
I guess one thing that we just thought about now was if he was Ben Parker, and it's his sister that's pregnant, right?
Yes.
So then how is he Peter Parker?
Unless he takes on his mom's name.
Which, again, that's just weird. That might be woke, you know, in quotations, but...
I just think it might be bad writing or
yeah,
something.
but that,
We
because
have to
they said
let you know.
they changed a lot of stuff, and there was constantly, like, I agree, like, there were moments I saw in the movie when they were in the hotel room, the one girl, the black girl, was talking, and then it cuts to a shot from behind of her talking to Madam Web, like an animation thing where they'll have something to cut and you don't see her mouth moving.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So there was certain parts like that where she was talking, and then blah, 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 and then she's talking, and I'm like, they're dubbing that over on this scene now. Which I guess would explain why I felt like he was just reading from the script type stuff. That was like the worst part. Whenever you see stuff where people phone in, I'm like, that guy really was just like, I'm just reading off my lines. And I think that was the worst part for me. Besides some of the cheesiness and some of the cringe lines, like the Uncle Ben revision story of the responsibility. And then the ending, I do have to kind of agree a little bit. Making it kind of make me feel like I'm like, what is she, Professor X like right now? And these are her ex-women.
Right.
So she turns on the little chair, goes to the window with the sunglasses on and smiling. I'm like, it is a weird shot and a weird kind of thing.
Yeah, it bothered me too.
Again, they can go to their premieres and their galas like wearing nothing basically, you know, but I always find that funny. Don't look at us, don't objectify, etc., but we're gonna wear this stuff. It's like, but we can do that with the men in the movies, but women don't want to see this type of stuff, you know, so it's like, I don't know why they can't just cater to what men want and cater to what women want in their own movies. And I still think this would have done a lot better if, like, the movie would have probably been a little bit more of them in their costumes.
Right.
Fighting bad guys. I know it's supposed to be an origin thing, but at the same time, I don't know how, because again, it's 2 hours. I felt it was at times a little slow in parts because the pacing, just a little bit, because again, for a superhero movie, I think they should have just marketed something else because there really isn't much superhero stuff. It's not much action-y, and I feel like that also kind of hurt it because it really isn't that.
They fight or whatever, or in this case, run away. Then you got this lull moment or lull moments where they're like hiding out. Then it kind of slows down at that time. And then there's maybe a little more action. Then they run again. Then you got another slow moment. So I could see why it feels like it could be cut down further.
It could have been better, obviously. And I think there were parts where there were things that they could have done to make it just a little bit better. But, you know, I'd rather it any day over Captain Marvel movies. Again, I mean, it's like, this isn't anywhere near as bad as The Marvels or Indiana Jones 5, because, again, all those seem kind of be like a spit in the face. The typical F you to whatever type stuff there, as is the Little Mermaid one there. You could have had $1 billion movie. Instead, you had a flop. Way better than that garbage. Way better than, like, Quantumania was disappointing just because it wasn't like the other Ant-Man movies. I don't understand why they did some weird, stupid crap with that.
I agree.
Or, oh god, Wish. That's how you celebrate the 100 years, with that garbage? So, over all that stuff, I'd definitely rather watch this, because this had what those didn't have. At least it was somewhat enjoyable. It was entertaining. I wasn't really bored during it. And there were people on there I liked. I thought it had decent parts. But what do you expect? It's just how it is. And I feel like that's what you should come to expect with these Spider-Man-less Sony movies.
Well, yeah. And it's probably not going to make its money back, so there probably won't be a sequel. But I wouldn't mind a sequel, especially if they make it more like what some people thought this was going to be, like a Charlie's Angel thing. We get, Madame Web leading the group of the 3 girls and to battle and fight.
And then the other stuff there, too, where there's so many things they could have done. Like, I would have liked the rumors I heard where they said they were going to, like, maybe have Andrew Garfield in there for the Spider-Man in that universe somehow. Or something, maybe get Holland in there or something. I don't know, there's so many things they could have done. But it wasn't perfect, but then again, most movies nowadays aren't, unless you're Godzilla -1. But anyway.
If you're going into this movie with low expectations, or you're not too sensitive about the whole Spider-Man universe, I think you can enjoy this movie.
Just like with any movie, a lot of people are probably gonna not see it and hate on it just because they're told to. I still say, if you want to see it, but then now you're like, I don't know, a lot of people are just like, just go see it. If you already have that, if you don't want to see it, then don't see it. So it's like, I've heard all these bad things about it, but I was like, you know what, let's just give it a try anyway. It might be a nice thing to watch girls in spider outfits for 2 hours, and a different story and something. We didn't get as much of what I was hoping for, but it was still entertaining nonetheless, and it wasn't as bad as a lot of those Disney movies and Disney MCU movies of last year. So thanks again. See it if you want. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you
Next time.
Yay.
Stay gnarly.